Hey guys, welcome back to the live stream where I explore coding, gameplay, and some of the features of my repack. Today I'm going to be doing some Uldaman, probably with some challenge modes. I would like to update some of the creature scripts to make things a little bit more challenging as well, so you might see me using Kira a bit. I think Kira is a fantastic tool for smart scripts and creature AI. There's not going to be too much complicated there. Let me see if I can show you real quick what it looks like. Yeah, so this is Kira. You can actually find this online if you just search for it. Keira. And basically all you do is you select a creature, it pulls up the creature's information, and you can edit their template there. I did use Heidi SQL to update creatures for the longest time, but these days it's just easier to use Kira because they've gotten so good at kind of describing how things work. What's this guy give?
As caretaker of the works here in the library of the Academy of Arcane Arts and Sciences, it is my responsibility to ensure all the magical tomes and scrolls are accounted for at all times. Who knows what folly would unfold if some of these enchanted texts were to fall into the wrong hands? Which reminds me. My assistant Dellis made a horrible mistake last week.
We're gonna do some of these quests as well,
when he leaves
just
the gates
because
of Stormwind.
I like to get distracted. So
help old Dellis out, would you? It wasn't my fault, really it wasn't. Master Mazen's directions were quite clear. Deliver a very important essay to Watcher Mahar-Ba in Netherguard Keep. But I had never been to the Blasted Lands before. The journey was
Blasted Lands.
When I got to the Swamp of Sorrows, I made a wrong turn and ended up surrounded by horrible plant-like swamp creatures. They lurched as if to attack me, so I ran. But in my haste, I dropped the essay. One of the beasts took it, I am sure. Could you please try to retrieve it and deliver it to Mahar-Ba?
Okay, I'm probably not going to do that quest, but I wanted to pick up some quests anyway. It looks like I have a quest to turn in here in Stormwind. Stormwind itself has really bad optimizations. I don't know. There's something about Stormwind and Dalaran in general. I mean, I guess if I turned down my video settings, it would help somewhat, but it's definitely not like this in other parts of the game. Yes, there have been things that have been upscaled significantly, but that really shouldn't impact performance to that extent, especially since I have a good computer. Well, some of the issues with the 3.3.5 client is obviously optimizations in terms of loading in certain maps and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do with that. If we had a decompile of the 3.3.5 client, then it would make things a lot easier because we could upgrade, you know, the client to 64-bit rather than 32. We could do a ton of other things, but unfortunately that's just not going to happen. So let me switch back my stream. There we go. Make sure DVR is not enabled. For some reason, the WoW client also doesn't like DVR. I don't know why. So I've tried it with DVR enabled in the past, but let's see. So Warren Boulevard, yeah, speak to Lady Jaina Bramore and Theramore. Alright. So we're just going to go to Ironforge because I've got a couple quests to pick up for Uldaman in the Badlands. Where are you, Badlands? Nope. Holy crap. It's Red Ridge, Swamp Sorrows, Burning Steppes, Badlands. There we go. The Ambassador of Evil is what I need to do before we go into Uldaman because I just want to get all the quests out of the way. I did add some functionality for NPC bot mages to give you ports. So all you do really there is you type, kind of get a portal to wherever, right? Or want to buy a portal to wherever, looking for a portal to. Portal to city is actually the important part. But and you have to have the Rune of Portals as well. So Otherwise, I'll tell you, sorry, I can't do that.
You need something?
So,
Pleased to meet you.
here we are in Ironforge. As you can see, my FPS is a lot higher now, but yeah, it's just unfortunate. What is this quest? I hate having quests on my map that I haven't completed.
Hello. If you are here about fee collection and or a summons, then you must have me mistaken for someone else.
Oh, that's what I got
Sorry.
rid of.
You need another file of scrying? You're kidding, right? What did you do with the first one? We
I
have a lot of
deleted
work
it.
ahead of us
I
here,
had too much
citizen.
crap in
Those
my
files
bags.
don't grow on trees. Actually, I wish they did because I'd go there and pick one off since I don't have another one. In order to make you one, I need the following: a mana potion, a piece of coal, and some sweet nectar. Don't ask why, just bring me what I ask, and I'll make you a new one.
Alright, whatever. So, yeah, I don't even know what that quest is for, I can't remember. Let's do Badlands. Yeah, so Ironforge also got an HD update recently. There is one guy...
Hammer dwarves might have fast steeds, but can those airy pink griffins stand the heat of the Great Forge? I think not.
There's a guy named Resnick who recently basically released his HD mod for the 3.3.5 client. I'll be honest with you, it's okay. First of all, it's really good. I think he's actually the one who did all the Kyle HD mods, by the way. So if anyone should get credit, it's definitely him, not Kyle. I know Kyle. Yeah. Anyway, so basically, it's upscaled 8 times, which is a problem. The WoW client doesn't like loading things beyond 4x usually. So if you have a 10 by 24 by 10 by 24 BLPs is typically the max unless it's like weapons. There's a couple other exceptions too. But he upscaled the crap out of everything, so I spent the last week basically trying to resize and downscale because I was getting some WoW client crashes due to that. So I think I pretty much sorted that. So yeah. I think one of these days I'll do a video on how to upscale various BLPs and items and weapons and all that fun stuff. I've actually spent a lot of time doing that. It's kind of a fun little thing to do on the side. So I don't know if stream is just being super laggy today, but clear my memory, see if that helps. Yeah, I was talking about upscaling graphics for a bit. Basically, there's quite a few mods out there that already have upscaled models, but there's a guy named Resnick, like I said, who upscaled things by 8 times essentially. So I took a lot of his stuff and had to scale it back down to 4x just because the client doesn't really like it so much. So yeah. One of these days I'll do a video on it, but it's really not that hard. There's a program out there called Cupscale, and so what you do is you take your BLPs and convert them to PNG, and then you upscale them and convert them back. So it's a free program. See if I can maybe get a link. I'm just on auto run for right now. This thing right here. Use it for anything, not necessarily World of Warcraft related, but Mr. Bots. So yeah, we're gonna get the Ambassador of Evil quest done so I can finally enter Uldaman with all the quests I want. And it's really dark, so I'm gonna change that a bit. So included in the repack is, see if I can show my screen. So included in the repack is this program called Camera Tool. It's super handy if you want to change what your game looks like on the fly. Let's see. So I like to turn my glow effects on. Makes it a bit brighter. Diffuse color. You can change your view distance and all that fun stuff as well. So anyway, I'll just keep that running in the background. That is the old, what is it? Not MMO Champion. WoW Machinima tool. I released it on the WoW Emu website at one point, but that website got shut down, so let's see. Alright. It's funny because it looks a lot brighter on my other screen, but the main screen for some reason is just super dark. Maybe I just need to turn the brightness up. Let's see. One of the things I've been working on recently is like making bots more chatty, I guess you could say. So they'll talk to you basically when they polymorph or silence or whatever, and they'll even do other interactions as well. At the beginning of the stream, I showed how mages can now teleport you places if you just ask. So for example, looking for portal to Stormwind. And they'll open up a portal to Stormwind. You have to have a mage with you and a rune of portals, obviously, but anyway. Just wasted a rune. I think this guy's downstairs, I can't remember. Let's see. So yeah, basically been trying to make where the hell did you come from? Player bot or NPC bots a little bit more like player bots in the sense that they're more interactable. Makes it feel like you're playing more or less with real players. You have to look at that later. Probably have a stacked WMO or something. Maybe there's, you know what, there's probably a mountain here on Nugget, and that's why you see that invisible thing. So basically all you have to do in those situations is just cut the mountain back a little bit, but anyway. Let's see. In fact, I kind of want to see. Let's see. This is the Anger Forge. Are we here somewhere, right? I'll let that load. Nugget takes forever to load on my computer for some reason. So alright, let's go to Nugget. I'll let that do its thing in the background. So this is Nugget. For anyone that doesn't know, it's basically a tool that you use to edit maps in your game. So right now we are at the Anger Forge area, and you can see, I mean, I guess maybe not. Just don't know why. Let me try deleting it. Sometimes if you get a stacked WMO, yeah, so it's been stacked. So I deleted it and there's still one left, so I just have to note that tile 3844. So Azeroth. And that happens for a bunch of different reasons, but yeah, I like the chat features of player bots a lot, and if I'll be honest, I mean I really do prefer player bots in a lot of ways, but when it comes to actual rating and stability and all that fun stuff, NPC bots is the way to go. But hopefully I can ameliorate some of that. Obviously some of the stuff is not going to be... I mean, it's just going to be coded differently, obviously, but... Alright, where the hell is the exit? It's this way. Probably going the wrong way. So I'm going the wrong way, alright. Swear the exit is somewhere. Maybe I'm up too high of a level? Doesn't seem right. Hold on. I haven't done these quests a whole lot, to be honest. And yeah. A lot of the chat stuff is pretty fun. I forgot about that actually a little bit. I'll have to think about how to implement something like that. But it's pretty doable. Getting them to chat in specific chat channels though is a challenge without making it like global. So that's why I typically just stick to the say method, which is you know, they say it out loud. But yeah, saying hello to bots is you know, stuff like that is really would be nice to have as well. Yeah. But the mage portal is basically a testing ground for that kind of stuff. So just the biggest issue is always going to be performance, because anytime you do a player script and it's chat related, it's going to affect server performance and cause additional potential issues for crashes, especially because add-ons use a lot of chat functions, so yeah, it just gets called more often. On a single player server, it's probably not that big of a deal, but I'll probably look at the player bots code on that one a little bit more, but oh, right, let's see. Where do I need to turn this in? Ambassador to Evil. Iron Forge. Oh. Let's just kill these guys and I'll go back to Iron Forge. So Murky, the Murky pet is actually getting a lot of interactions to this next update, but kind of talked a little bit about that in my note-taking Discord. It's going to be kind of fun. He's part of basically I'm using him also as a testing ground for adding some more bot interactions through text, but we'll see. I've been kind of lazy about it and hard-coded a lot of it rather than using tables. Right, so can I get a portal to Iron Forge? Well, he's about to get a lot cooler. I'll show you real quick what I'm doing with Murky. I don't have Murky on that character because I'm doing a challenge mode. But so let's see. So Murky, and I'm probably gonna do an entire video on Murky at some point because I'm really proud of this one. But I did revert his model back just because of dancing. So you can actually do a bunch of different emotes with him. I'll hide my bots. So if you slash dance, he'll start dancing. If you cheer him on, if you lick him, he'll say something. If you're rude to him, right? If you're rude to him 2 more times, he'll summon his Murloc friends, and then he'll vanish. But so he also has chat that's specific to pretty much every zone in the vanilla world at the moment. So if you go to Stormwind, I need to summon him again apparently. He'll say something about Stormwind. King statue's so big, Murky feels tiny. He'll even interact with specific NPCs. That part you can actually do in the SQL tables. But let's see if we can find Officer Jackson. So I think so he's one of the NPCs that he talks to. There he is. Pretty much know his patrol by this point. Oh, Officer Jackson. Hello, Murky, keeping the peace as always. So he'll interact with people like that too. He does that with Sylvanas at the moment. If you're heading to a new area, he'll also interact with that. So let me go to L1 real quick. I also have a new Murky in the loading screen. So let's say we're approaching Goldshire, I guess. So. Oh, he also periodically gives you a small gift. So he'll give you bloated fish, which have like little gems and stuff inside of them. So and he has a really low chance of giving you a traveler's backpack, and he'll give you a dialogue. Hey, Murky found something, you know. So we're approaching Goldshire, and see, he recognizes that he's in Goldshire, and has a dialogue for that kind of stuff. What else did I add to Murky? I kind of want to see. Let's see. I'll show you the code. So let me just pull up CMake again, actually. Oh, also, so before he had access to the auction house, vending, repairs, banking, and what else? Something else. Innkeeping, banking, auction house, whatever. He had access to those things, but I'm actually planning on adding those to items that you find in the game or craft or do a quest for. And Murky will have his own quests, but basically, if you get an item, and these are just test items right now, so if you get an item, one of his items to upgrade Murky, right now it's just a mace, then you can access his bank. If you get another upgrade item, then, and again, this is just an axe. Let's see, hold on. Then you can access the auction house, right? You get another item. Pair. Yeah, he used to be purple. I changed his model back and upscaled it for a couple reasons, but now you can repair your goods, right? And these are all going to be attached to items that you can get. Innkeeper, right? You'll probably have to get some of them through the treasure hunting thing, because one thing that Murky does now too, so yeah, now he has access to all of his features, you could say. But obviously if you get rid of them, you can't use them anymore. I'm trying to make the quality of life that's in the repack a little bit less intrusive, I guess you could say. That was, let's see, where did I put that item? Whatever. But anyway, so in the repack there are hidden treasures. And so if you wander close to a hidden treasure, Murky will now tell you, hey, there's hidden treasure nearby. And that's nice because it's really hard to find some of the treasures. we have a lot of treasures in the game though, so Tanatos. Oh, he's maintaining the website right now. Okay, never mind. I was gonna show you guys how many treasures we had in the game, but yeah. So yeah, his code is just pretty basic for the most part. Again, it's just getting him to check for nearby things when he enters range. Then he has specific NPC interactions of a back and forth dialogue with different things. He has his gift giving thing, right? And he gives you a gift based on your level, so that you're not getting something that you shouldn't probably. And then again, these are all randomized. It's hard coded right now, except for one table. Maybe I'll probably change it to SQL tables at some point, but yeah, lots of interactions with emotes. You can even fart on him. Yeah, clap. And then, his zone and other stuff, interactions. What else did I add to him? I think that's pretty much it for right now. At some point, I do want him to, like, if you find these fish, the ones that you can equip, I want him to be able to equip those. So I'll probably add that at some point too. But so if you want to talk about the children of Goldshire. Let's see. Look up events. Hallows End. Let's see. So, Children of Goldshire are kind of, sort of, implemented. Not really. But I think it would be fun to have some sort of old god connection with them at some point. Yeah, so he only talks about it the first time he finds one, and he does it when he gets into 15 feet of an object. So, it could get kind of spammy in Ironforge, of course, but it's nice for out in the open world, obviously. So, I did make... Anyway, back to the children event. This is kind of turning into a random stream, I'm sorry. There is a cemetery event in Raven Hill. I did a video on this a while back ago, but the inspiration for this were those children in Elwyn Forest. So this is a solo event, and you just talk to him. Well, you don't talk to him. You talk to the pauldron. You stir the cauldron. And then the event starts. And this is just like a little mini game where you have to dodge frogs. You get little power-ups. So my power-up's not working apparently right now. Didn't reach it fast enough probably. If you get hit by a frog, you explode. And some of the power-ups give you health. Some of them do other things, I guess. But you have to go through 3 waves of this. They get increasingly more difficult. So this wave of witches does the ice beam. Then you get more frogs that come in faster and faster kind of deal. Let's see if I can kill this NPC bot because it's funny. Let's see if I can kill her. Bots won't get hit by frogs, by the way. Alright, so kill that one. And then you get the flame walls, plus the ice beams, plus the frogs. I'd like to do more of those solo events, but... yeah, kind of fun. Event stop. 21. Up. Event. Hallows End. Event stop 12. Alright. So, back to what we were doing. But anyway, yeah, Murky, he's probably going to be just a social interaction type NPC, because really I just want the solo experience to be more interesting. It's kind of lonely sometimes, right? So it would be nice if the NPCs in general were just more interactable. Also, when you equip bots with new gear, let me see if I can... they have a 33% chance to say something, so I might have to do this a couple times. Yeah, so you equip them with something and they'll potentially say thank you or whatever. But it's little interactions here and there that just makes things feel a little bit more interactive with the bots. So all that stuff adds up over time. And we're turning in a quest. Let's see, I should have just gone straight. But yeah, Murky's just been kind of like one of those fun little side projects that I wasn't expecting to grow as big as it did, but I've been learning a lot from it, so, and it's been really useful for dealing with some of the other bot additions that I'll be making. So I do worry about, like, because bots also will notify you when they interrupt things at this point, but I worry about that getting a little bit spammy. So maybe I'll make that a chance, but then it's like, well, why do you say anything anyway?
Adventurer, your dedication to Ironforge and to the Dwarven peoples cannot be refuted. I thank you for your help in this matter. I shall send word to historian Karnik informing him that you have succeeded, and I shall also have aid sent to the Badlands as soon as possible to help recover the excavation site.
All right.
Thank you again.
Let's do Uldaman.
I would ask of you in the name of King Bronzebeard. We've slowed the Shadowforge clan by cutting them off from Blackrock Spire.
Oh no.
His quest is still unfulfilled. His death must not be in vain. He dreamt of finding...
Okay. So I had a client crash. 1 second. And I'm pretty sure that is related to... I just need to make a note to reduce Uldaman textures. So like I said, I was upscaling things earlier, and I'm testing a lot of this stuff out. The patch I'm testing it on is like 25 gigabytes at the moment though, so that's probably not helping with performance. But some of the 8x scaled things still cause some issues. But yeah, I mean, like, everything looks a lot more pristine. I don't know if you can notice on stream, but yeah, the textures probably need to just be reduced by half. We're going to do this on tyrannical mode. And we'll do nullifying tempest as well. I do need to add rewards probably to this dungeon for challenges. I don't know. What is scripted here? I'm trying to think, because I did script the final boss to some extent in Lua, so I'll have to figure out how to hook that. But yeah, challenge. R of the Tyrant increases mob health and damage. Nullifying Tempest reduces all your magical resistances, so... Yeah, SQL is a fun thing. I like SQL. SQL and Lua were basically all I knew when I first started coding. I had some like familiarity with C++, but not a whole lot when I first started doing WoW dev stuff. My computer is absolute crap, to be honest. Well, it's not crap, but it's basically, it's not like a GTX 30 whatever. I've got 64 gigs of RAM. I've got a nice CPU, but my bottleneck right now is my 2070, I think, graphics card or whatever it is. I don't know. Anyway, but that really doesn't do you much good when it comes to the 3.3.5 client anyway. Like I said, a lot of that stuff is not optimized for the client. The client has a hard time and struggles supremely with loading HD textures of anything, so you have to work with those limitations by not going too crazy. So this is just a test run. I'll probably make some notes on some of the NPCs. So yeah, now they talk about when they do polymorphs, certain casts. If you pull a big group, they'll tell you you're crazy. But with wind shear being at such a low cooldown, and them notifying you every time they interrupt a spell, it can be quite a bit. And then they'll all pretty much tell you at this point when they're low on mana or health. Where is... Where's my tank? Alright, Mr. Tank, where'd you go? Oh, I'm not even in a group with him. That sucks. I've got to start over again. Alright. Hopefully the client doesn't crash again. Specific. Okay. Did I leave my group? I think I did. Create group. Go to Uldaman. I was like, why am I tanking so much? Tyrannical. Nullifying Tempest. Yeah. Why'd you disappear? Okay. Never mind. But yeah, so for Banish, Psychic Scream, they'll let you know when they're doing a Psychic Scream, which is nice, because then you can turn it off. But honestly, I just wish we had a 64-bit client. That would mean you could do so much more with a 64-bit client. And yeah, there's Hermes proxy and all that fun stuff, but we don't know enough about like the modern classic client version, and it's just a lot more difficult to customize. Whereas everyone works on the 3.3.5 client. Like I don't know anyone who hasn't worked on a Wrath client at some point. Some people switch to working on the vanilla client. Wallcraft is really good with the classic client. Sorry, not classic, the vanilla client. But yeah, I would just love a 64-bit version of the 3.3.5. The green textures from Blizzard. It's random. I don't get it. I wonder if it's a size thing. Alright. Now that I'm not face tanking everything. So yeah, with Kiara, because I mentioned Kiara earlier, Stone Vault. You look up the creature Stone Vault Oracle. You can look at their stats, all that fun stuff, damage modifier, smart AI. So it looks like they cast Lightning Shield, Healing Ward, Lava Spout, Totem, Healing Wave, and then at 15% they flee versus. So they don't really do a whole lot. So that's one that I could definitely add more to. And it looks like they just randomly cast Healing Wave on themselves every 22 seconds. So, you know, that's kind of lame. But yeah, and if you update anything, there's this execute function, or you could copy the SQL table and put it into Heidi. But and that's how it works. Need to download the new version, but yeah. But yeah, with power creep from Wrath talents and getting more talents, basically I've just been trying to update some of the older dungeons, make them a little bit more challenging. Because the questing dungeons have just not translated very well. Well, certain bosses are still challenging, but I just remember things being so much more difficult back in the vanilla days, and I'm trying to recapture that. So. Let's get whatever's over here, I guess. Baylog. Oh, and we pulled another one over there. That's great. Alright, while you guys handle that, I'm gonna go turn this in.
It's about time you showed up. I was in danger of losing a bet with Olaf. He wagered that his beard would grow to his knees before he saw another living person. Well, here you are, and as you can see, Olaf's beard has a few more inches to go. Thanks, adventurer. I'll split the winnings with you. Now for the task at hand. There is a secret chamber, the Chamber of Cosmos, that must be explored. The problem is that the chamber's behind a huge locked door. It's a lucky thing I know how to open it. I've described everything in my journal, here on the table. My band and I are stuck here for now. So you, adventurer, must find the Chamber of Cosmo for us. Read my journal, explore the chamber, then report to Prospector Stormpike at the...
Read the journal. No one reads. I think it's funny that they expected so many people to read their quests and whatnot. Like, as a developer, you quickly learn that no one reads instructions, which also translates to no one reading quest text. Like, that's kind of why I liked the vanilla like UI prior to having quest POIs, because you actually had to read the quest text in order to figure out what to do, and you didn't have access to the. I mean, you had access to the internet, but it was like it was the crappy. What was it called? I'm trying to remember that crappy website. Alakazam, I think it was called. Anyway, and it had such bad information. So that's actually part of the add-on is part of a it's an add-on. Basically, if you look in the I don't know if you're part of the Repack community Discord or anything, but there should be an add-on section for it there. But yeah, honestly I love questing. I think questing is the best. My favorite challenge mode. I just like to do everything in a half experience. So taking things slow, completing every quest in every zone. I know that makes me a bit crazy, but the voice add-on will only work for vanilla quests, by the way, just because I haven't developed anything for Wrath or TBC. There's not been as much incentive to do that because neither of those expansions were as popular, so it sucks, but I just find it interesting because if you look at like the private server community, Wrath of the Lich King is by far the most popular expansion, but it just didn't really turn out that way for whatever reason. Probably because they just had crappy release overlaps, but yeah, I like the single player experience for sure. Especially now that I have kids because I don't have to wait. Like, my bots wait on me. I can AFK for 2 hours and they'll still be there when I'm back and they won't, get mad at me for that kind of stuff. So, definitely a big fan of the solo player experience. The biggest challenge, obviously, is trying to emulate that solo experience with actually being with a bunch of other players. So, for me, I don't care as much about the RP elements, like the chat stuff, but I know a lot of people like it. So I'm doing my best there. But it is Tricker's fork. And I hate doing bot development in some ways because then I feel more obligated to do more bot development, and I just don't want to get sucked into bot development. I'd rather Tricker just do that side of things, and then, but stuff like chat or whatever, interactions, I have no problem adding. Yeah, well, they also added the WoW token, so I don't know, man. I just I bought a lot of gold back in my day, okay? But it's when you're just blatantly selling gold to your customer base, it's kind of frustrating. I forgot how to get this key. I'll look it up later. But I don't think the token is to really blame for that so much. It's just, but Cataclysm, I don't know. I liked a lot of Cataclysm. I didn't like the zone revamp so much just because it got rid of the old world, but I think if they had that toggleable, that would have made the experience more enjoyable. I hated Vashir, even though I have Vashir in this client. You know, you can go to Vashir, but gameplay-wise, Cat was pretty good. Pretty good. Still had the talents, right? I know a lot of people like the gameplay of Miss Pandaria, but the gameplay for me was probably the height for me was Legion. Really enjoyed Legion. If we ever got player bots or NPC bots with a Legion source that was functional, I would totally switch over. But most of the Legion source codes are closed, not open, and the likelihood of anyone adding bots to a Legion repack is very low. So maybe I can convince some of the people at the single player project to make their source code open, but who knows. Yeah, yeah. Clients, I mean the raids have always, I don't know, raids have always been good. Like it's hard to look at an expansion and be like, raids kind of sucked this expansion. Wrath of the Lich King initial entry level expansions were pretty easy, but even then, like, they were still fun for the most part. I guess Deathwing, people didn't like the Deathwing encounter as much, but the back of Deathwing was kind of obnoxious. It's kind of like a Razor Gore fight, is what it felt like in terms of that, like, this is really annoying to do type of fight. But it's even, like, Warlords of Draenor had good raids. I think that just where they go wrong is... Where do they go wrong, man? Community aspect is a big one. It's really hard to recapture the old school community, though. The thing you gotta remember about, like, vanilla WoW is this was before Facebook and MySpace, so this was like people's social media was World of Warcraft. I mean, that's how I met friends. That's how I even dated a couple of people from my guild, and it was basically the same outlet that you get for social media nowadays. Only it was more interactable. So maybe that's why MMO popularity has gone downhill. Actually, in general, is because of social media. Who knows? All right, what dungeons do I? Let's see. I want to do that boss. That's not even a boss, though, is it? But yeah, I mean, I think the WoW shop is partially what killed it. Transactional stuff. Though it's mostly vanity, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I think it's just the modernization of the game. They sped things up too much. They also oversimplified their stats. So I think in retail, even to this day, you only have, like, you have intellect, spirit, Or maybe you just have intellect, stamina. Basically, they got rid of spell power, right? And dodge and all these other things, so it just feels less like an MMO and more like a theme park. And so they started building these isolated like expansions that made the older content irrelevant, which it's really hard to keep old content relevant. Which is why I really think time walking was fun, but hopefully I can do something to keep old content going. But I'm also in this is also a 3-part expansion repack, so you can play all 3 expansions as the same repack. But I would like to make certain things upgradable later on. So if you want to upgrade Thunder Fury, for example, you can do that. You got to be careful with legendaries though, because as soon as you introduce certain legendaries or certain overpowered items, you just negate a whole bunch of other items. So yeah. Which is why most of the time legendaries ended up being on the final raid tier of each expansion, is because by that point you've gone through all the raids, you've gotten all the loot, and then on the final raid tier you got a legendary, and it's not going to replace like 150 other main hand weapons at that point, because it's on the last boss of the last raid. So there's challenges associated with that. I think upgrade systems are great though, so yeah, I just didn't like the approach they took with heirlooms. I think heirlooms, if anything, should have been like the thing that you upgrade over time. And so that's partially why I liked artifact weapons so much, is because you definitely had to put in the time and effort to make artifact weapons work and upgrade them. But there were no other weapons in that particular expansion other than the artifact weapons. So, and some of that was made a little bit more interesting because they had, you know, new skins or whatever, but at the end of the day it was just the same weapon. So, granted it was a weapon with a bunch of talents baked into it, but I just feel these guys don't really do enough damage. Like, again, I've got Tyrannical enabled, so I'll probably do some global damage increases. Even when I was face tanking as a rep paladin, like there's, and I get it, like priest bots, disc priest bots are really good right now just because I've made them shield so much. Someone made a note in Discord, hey, these guys really don't shield a whole lot. So I fixed it, and I probably overcompensated, but yeah. I want to look at how those work. Like, are those NPCs? They are NPCs, so Sandstorm. I've got to look at that, because I want to do some mechanics like that. Basically a spell attached to an invisible NPC that wanders around. Those are so fun. I totally forgot about that. I would have used that as an example for other crap later on. I don't have any inventory stuff. Alright. This is a midpoint, right? We're going to put a reagent banker in here. I've been actually adding the reagent banker to various dungeons. I don't know if you guys have noticed that recently with like the most recent update, but look up creature reagent. Oops, wrong one. C delete. I have tried turtle a little bit. I tried Ascension a little bit too, but I didn't try it for very long, to be honest. So I do look at their stuff from time to time, especially if I'm looking for items to implement for like a certain dungeon. I'll use that as an inspiration. I do think Ascension has some really cool things going for it. Like I would love to do their solo dungeon experience that they have, where it's just solo encounters. You go to an island and you beat a bunch of things on your own. I love that. But I'm not a fan of certain things like class lists. I do like having defined roles and specific talents. About the most flexible I am is pretty much with racials, and that's it. But it's a balancing hell if you try to do class lists. Early on when I was working on this repack, we actually had an artifact weapon system, and it was pretty cool, but it was really impossible to balance around, so scrapped it, and we'll probably be revisiting that in Wrath, at which point I'm sure I'll be better at coding, but I'll probably come up with something more interesting by then as well. Oops. I changed my Divine Steeds spell with my disenchant spell. I was going to disenchant some stuff, but that's okay. I should probably take auto loot off, because I'm just getting a bunch of junk at this point. But yeah, I mean, what kind of features did you like in Turtle or Ascension? Sorry if my responses seem a little delayed, by the way. I'm trying to do stream quality over chat, but I hate choppy videos, but alright, let's see what we need to go do. I don't think that's a real boss, so go there anyway, but well, those guys hit hard. The prestige system for Ascension is also something that I liked. And we kind of have something a little similar to it now, but not really. It's like re-leveling with different challenge modes, but yeah. So, all that fun stuff. I am good with, I do like, I mean, to some extent I like certain rune systems. Again, I think one of the biggest challenges that Ascension has is balancing. It's just hard to balance with those many variables. And you can do a lot of cool stuff through like legendaries or trinkets. And I'd like to do some more cool effects there. But, yeah, I don't know. Something would be fun. You just gotta be careful every time you introduce an element of power creep, is all I gotta say. Because once you introduce power creep, you gotta make everything more difficult again. It's, yeah. Constant battle. Or nerf everything, right? Either make everything more difficult or nerf everything. Otherwise, you just solo stuff. So that was actually the problem with the artifact system that we had before, is that if you maxed it out and you were level 60 and you were a paladin, you could actually go through and solo Molten Core. Like, that's how crazy it was. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people enjoy that gameplay, and I think there's a lot to be said for class lists and additional options. Part of me just likes the traditional feel of the game as well. where you just have your talents, your glyphs, your gear. So as long as it's not upending that, I'm all for it, for me personally. I try to really just strike this balance between like new content, but also preserving the old content, right? Because I want it to be Classic Plus, not like some random new game, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I think there's the illusion of choice. If you're offered too many choices, it becomes very difficult to make a choice. So that's another problem with classless. But like I say, I do think that you can make it enjoyable. It's just hard to balance. Like, what's the meta of the week, right? And you got to worry about, well, what are they going to nerf this week? Because it's always a constant flux of balancing. So yeah, and it's good for min-maxers, right? But I also think that there's kind of a limit to min-maxing too, before it becomes tedious. So my biggest thing is I just want to keep that MMO experience or the RPG experience, right? The role-playing part, which you level your gear, you get new loot, you do cool quests, you go kill dungeons, or I mean dungeon bosses or whatever. Just the powering up of your character through gameplay of doing adventures, right? Because that's really lost on a lot of the newer RPGs out there, is that sort of feeling of adventure and finding things and exploration. So a lot of that's just because we have access to the internet and we can look up every damn guide on everything. So in a way, having a repack like this is kind of a fun opportunity because you can't really look up that stuff. I mean, we have a database website now, but still. Like, I get people asking me all the time. Oh, my tank died. Oh no. Hold on. Let's see if we can at least kill some of these. But I get people asking me all the time, like, oh, this thing dropped off of the second to last boss in Molten Core, which is a custom boss, right? And they don't know what to do with it because I don't have a use for it in game yet. But it's kind of fun to see that question coming up because they're expecting something, right? So, which eventually I'll implement. It's just, yeah. I like it when I die in dungeons. It means that I don't have to do a whole lot to alter. It means that things are challenging enough. Alright. I also forget that you get luck of the draw even if you do a solo dungeon queue. Kind of obnoxious. Oops. Whoops. So Cutie Blue does a really good tutorial series. I don't know if you know who that is, but I'm sure she's planning on doing more of those. I do like tutorials series, I guess you could say, just to showcase kind of some of the stuff that is on the repack. The problem is I'm always adding stuff to it, so it's like, what do I showcase? Like, I can't remember what you guys do or don't know. So, um, so yeah, I mean, I'd love to do more of that, but honestly, it's been hard for me to want to do new YouTube videos recently. I do YouTube video management for my investment company that I work with, so it's kind of sucked out the fun of creating YouTube videos. But live streams are doable because I don't really have to do a whole lot of editing. So that's why I haven't really come out with as many guides or things like that recently. But it's fun all the same. Sometimes I forget even some of the features I've added. That's like when you know you've added probably a little too much. I like finding the stuff that I added back when I first started doing this. It's like, oh yeah, I remember adding that. That was fun. Those are always like fun little surprises, I guess. But let me see if I can get Cutie Blues YouTube channel. Because I really like her series. She does bot guides. She's done guides for the repack as well, kind of showcasing some of the stuff. She made a lot of adjustments since her first videos, so she's improved quite a bit. I enjoyed her first videos as well, but yeah, I think the newer videos are a lot better. She's very good at editing. I hate editing. I'm just lazy and don't want to spend a lot of time doing it, which probably hurts me in the long run. But alright, this is where I died last time. I forgot. I should probably be more careful. Alright, let's just... It's like LOS or something. Just gonna let you guys do your thing. I'll back up, heal a little bit. Ooh. You just sitting there chilling, not doing anything? Okay. Yeah. Apparently I didn't learn my lesson. Got distracted. Let's at least kill a couple of these, I guess. I just get so used to rolling through everything. These things are orange to my level anyway. Let's see. Yeah, he hits hard. Yeah, she's got a lot of better videos than I do, frankly. Uh, she does guides on raid bosses too, because I've changed it quite a few, right? So. Well. Kill the Dark Caster. Okay, maybe not. I can't chat while you're dead, bullcrap. There, I'm chatting while I'm dead. Alright, I'm changing that part, apparently, in the add-on, because I hate that they can't do that. I'm gonna wait for my bots to revive, I think. I'm trying to remember if they actually revive if you're dead. I don't know if they do. So I did know how to code in Lua and SQL prior to modding. C++ I had some basic knowledge of, but not a whole lot. Excuse me. My major was in linguistics and Japanese. I was originally going to teach overseas, so for me, learning to code is just like learning a new language. As long as the syntax makes sense, which in coding it does, it's pretty consistent. There's not a whole lot of like syntactical or grammatical exceptions. So yeah, it's been fun. I have weird hobbies in the sense that I like to find things that are kind of intellectually engaging. I initially wanted to learn Japanese because of literature. I really enjoyed some of the Japanese literature books that I had read from Murakami and wanted to read them in Japanese and kind of compare them. So I spent a number of years studying for 12 hours a day until I was literate. After about 2 years, could read anything. I was eventually going to also teach in Japan, but that didn't happen because life just hit me in the face. And I realized that teaching overseas is not really conducive to having a family life. They don't pay very well. A lot of the people that hire you for English jobs in Japan are think it is a grand like experience that you're getting and not so much of a we really need you for this job type of deal. So you get paid less than you would if you went to like China or somewhere else, like the Philippines. But yeah. So I ended up staying in the States. Now I have a degree with which I don't really do anything. And I ended up going into marketing and real estate and not doing anything related to what I was originally doing except for coding. So, because originally I thought about combining my linguistics with a coding minor, I just I ended up going the teaching route instead. So, yeah. If I had been smart and had some forethought and foresight. But unfortunately do not. Alright, let's see if we can not get killed this time. So yeah, when they interrupt, they have random dialogue that they can go through, but Flame Shock. Yeah, bots are really good at interrupting, so it makes a lot of the encounters a little bit trivial in some ways. I think it might be good at some point to add like a timer check for interrupts so that at least, because it'd be nice if players could also interrupt, but it seems like you never can because bots are just so good at it. Yeah, so I mostly, like I say, I'm mostly literate in Japanese. In terms of speaking, I can get by. Yeah, can read novels, can read newspapers, all that fun stuff. I am a little bit rusty, just because I've been spending more time coding. So Japanese is one of those languages that you have to maintain just because there's so many kanji characters. So if you're not using it on a regular basis, it's easy to forget stuff. However, it's also easy to get it back. So if I spent like 2 months reading again, then it'd just come back without any trouble. And then I did take my JLPT test, and I did get the N1. And that was quite a few years ago. I'm trying to remember how far back now. 2 or 3, something like that. So the JLPT is basically Japanese language proficiency test. There's 5 levels, and 1 being the top. Not that it's really a good indicator of like how much Japanese you actually know. It's mostly a literacy test, but comprehension, that kind of stuff. But conversational language has not always been my forte. I speak Spanish too, but I've always just been more interested in reading. I'm not a social person by nature, so if I can do things by myself, such as reading, then I'll do that. I probably released too early, which is why those things pulled. Alright, who's alive still? Alan, what are you doing? You're killing me. I feel like such a bad player on live stream just because I'm like busy talking and not actually doing. Like I don't pay attention. But yeah, I think it's I think language learning is just good for your brain. Highly recommend it. Even if it's coding, just learn. I've Alzheimer's disease runs pretty rampant in my family, so I'm kind of determined to not get it. So brain activities are always good. Probably doesn't help that I look at the screen all day, but you know, hopefully the learning part offsets it somehow. Okay, smart pulls this time. We're gonna do some send to commands. Let's do, alright, so got this up here. Where do we want to pull? Probably over here. So let's put my ranged here. We'll put my tank up here. You know, it actually might be good to do a send to chat command. Didn't think about it. Like have them respond. Yeah, I replaced the original Scarlet Monastery shield with it. But you can still get the old one, you just have to look for it. There's also technically new Scarlet Monastery tabards, but they are I didn't really implement them. They're just part of the game files. Let's see if I can show you. So look up item Scarlet Scarlet Crusade. Tabard of the Scarlet Crusade. Alright, so we have that one is not. That's the shield, that's the old shield. So the original, this was already in the game file, but only NPCs had access to that one, and it had the gold trim. That's just the top. Let's see. Scarlet Crusade. If I had easy collections turned on, I'd probably show you, but item. Gold. That one. This one. That one. Oh, Zul'Farrak's fun. I honestly haven't tested the T-Rex boss a whole lot. So let me know if you have feedback on that one, because I feel like I need to adjust him, even though I'm gonna get to that dungeon soon. I didn't do as much testing on that one before I actually released it. But I'm glad you're finding it enjoyable. Ah, don't die, Alan. You're the chosen one. Yeah, Dino sidekick. I'm gonna see if I can show on my show my easy collections. Let's see. I don't know if you guys have used the transmog add-on yet. It's kind of, it needs to be optimized somehow. The issue that we have is that we don't cache anything from the client because there's so much crap in the client that it's not a good idea to keep your WDB folder by default. I just didn't reset the dungeon. Oops, hold on, I didn't actually enable the... But anyway, I think it's fun. There's a couple pages that cause crashes because I probably have a missing texture on like a two-handed sword somewhere, but it's hard to figure that out. Have a good night, Mildred. Let's see. So yeah, tabards. Let's see. I mean, we've got a lot of tabards. If you end up getting the add-on from Discord, I don't recommend running with easy collections all the time, but it might be good. Just, I like it because I can actually visually see what tabards we have or what items we do have and what ones we don't. Like, these are all tabards I need to figure out stuff with. Think of what else. Yeah. Too many blank slate tabards. Ooh, we got the Zul'Farrak tabard. A lot of the custom items that were imported were done with Python, so I don't really know what all I have in terms of custom items. All I know is that I have stuff from like Wrath to Shadowlands and then a couple other things I've added here and there, so yeah. Yeah, so that set is available on the reward points vendor, I think, if that's the one you're talking about. Or if you're talking about the Stormwind Guard set in Stormwind, yes, those are available. Some of the 3D pieces probably won't work. I don't know if there's really that many 3D pieces on it, though. I'd have to look again. But yeah, it's like the Legionnaire set or something like that. Well, I can't really look until armor types. Yeah, anyway. 7th Legion, I think. Maybe not. Whatever the set name is in Retail WoW, like if you look up the item ID in Retail WoW for whatever the item is, and you add item in game, it uses the same item ID. So most of the item IDs are Blizz-like. So if you used Wowhead, for example, to get an item ID, you can add it in game as well. The costume set, the Stormwind costume set. I think, yeah. So that's on the reward points vendor. So is the Ogremar set, and you can also get the training wooden shield. Yeah. Stormwind Guard set from the guy who does like the Stormwind Guard. Yeah. I like that channel, by the way. He's funny. Right, I need to actually put my... Running in circles, alright. Let's do... You guys can stand right here. We'll put Alan over here. Yeah. I love leaving comments too, because he'll actually respond to them. I think he's really hoping that Asmongold will look over one of his videos. And he really should, but, you know. I do not play Ascension. I have played Ascension, though. I basically just play my repack at this point, just because I'm... You know, I develop it. I spend a lot of time developing my repack. It's pretty much what I do for fun, since I don't have a real social life. So... Alright, let's see. Yeah, Patrick Patlich. I just wish there was more WoW videos in general lately. Machinima's died off, so... I don't even think Nixium does anything really anymore. Maybe he does, I don't know. Alright. Platinum wise, yeah. I just haven't kept up with the with who's still around or who's not. And I see I still watch Asmongold, but that's just because I've been subscribed to him forever. And he just appears on my playlist on occasion, my browsing features. But he doesn't even play WoW, so... Oh, come on, Alan. Please, Alan. Save me. Alright, let's do... Why is your threat so bad? It's probably the level differences between the NPCs, to be honest. Alright. His threat disappeared. Yeah, I mean, he said nice things initially about it, but when he realized not as many people were playing it, he decided to not play it either because he plays what's popular at this point. So, I don't know. Is coming or what? Oh, yeah, you're coming through the floor. Alright. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, from what I heard from everyone, Dragonflight seemed like a really good expansion. I haven't played retail since Legion, though. Yeah, I heard they did a really good job with their crafting system. The flight system seems like it was a lot of fun, too. And it looks like, I mean, I watched some of the fights online just because I'm looking for ideas. And it does seem like a lot of the fights were pretty fun as well, but... Augmentation, yeah. Yeah, so I heard some people loved it, some people didn't, but I'm sure it was great. I was one of those weird people who actually liked the artifact grind, so I just like grinds. I think it's important to have hard grinds. Yeah, I mean that's why what I heard. I just got burnt out from mythic raiding in Legion, and that's probably why I stopped playing. And then I started playing on private servers more. So WoD was the best expansion, man. Yeah, I mean, what content Warlords of Draenor did have was actually pretty fun, but there just wasn't a lot. The they also really failed at the player housing system, but I don't think you could really call it player housing. Yeah, Legion for sure. I just feel like it struck that right balance of like fast-paced yet RPG, a lot of exploration, really good raids, awesome PvP rewards, and just it was also complex and deep enough with the artifact weapon system that it didn't felt like Talents again almost, right? So because the biggest complaint a lot of the, for a long time was that there was like not as much customization for your character, and I feel like artifacts really helped with that. Yeah, I think they even made like a graveyard or a gravestone where it said here lies, you know, planned content that we had or something like that. But I don't know. I am curious a bit more about like what they actually had planned. Alright, Alan, you're killing me. I agree. Love talents. And yeah, it's like an illusion of choice, but at the same time, like it's part of the RPG element. You need something, and that's why I feel like they've spent so much time recently just adding what amounts to like talent trees back into the game. Because it's easy to go the wrong direction and try to oversimplify things, but yeah. Alright, let's see if I can actually pull these safely. This is a fun part. Yeah. Ascension has a really good UI developer. They have, I mean, it's really good. I want to say I wish I were better at UI development, but at the same time I need a new avenue of coding, like I need a swift kick in the ass. Like there's so much I'm doing right now. But there's certainly times where I wish I was better at like AIO development for custom stuff like the easy collections, transmog stuff, right? Like this is the coolest thing since sliced bread. But yep. Yeah, I always thought Tinker classes were kind of fun. I think if I ever did class development for my repack, which I'm not, I'm just throwing this out there, like new classes, I'd probably do Demon Hunter and Tinker for sure. Tinker's, I think it just has a lot to offer in terms of like unique gameplay style. It's kind of like a combination of like shaman plus engineer plus hunter, I guess. I don't know. It's yeah. I think Blizzard really failed on that one, and when they I still remember the April Fool's joke for the new Bard class. I thought that was going to be kind of fun, but let's see. Actually, come back. Let's do this. You. I guess it's just these three at this point, but those guys hit hard. I guess if I was gonna do, part of me has wondered about like doing a class overhaul or a spec overhaul for Survival Hunter, making it a melee class. I just don't want to create a bunch of new spell visuals. That is the problem. I hate working with spell visuals. I actually like it because the end results are really good, but it just takes up so much time to make new spell visuals. The Murloc playable race. Here, I'll give you a Murloc playable race. You ready? There you go. Here's your playable Murloc race. But not really. Because they don't have item equips. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about how, because I haven't really looked into like attachments for item equipping, but I'm curious about how they do it on Turtle or other places that do like Warlock custom races. But with all the work that I've been doing on Murky, you know, Warlock race as a custom race is not too far out of the question. Why are you getting hit? It's probably because I have you all stacked up like a moron. You know, actually, now that I think about it, I think if you made a character model specifically for Murloc, they should probably come with automatic attachments for gear. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I have a lot of custom races that I just I don't use. So there's partly because they're a pain to implement. Let's see if I can show you. They just take time, right? Yeah, that is the wrong one. So these are all Dragonflight models or more, but we have access to things, and I would like to upgrade like our Blood Elves to the Dragonflight models. I'd like to do that with Taran so that they have access to the races, the appearances for the allied race, right? Goblin is Dragonflight, but it just takes time, and then I have to every time I create a new character of like a base class, or sorry, a base race like human or orc or whatever, I have to then go change every single creature in the game as well. So there's a lot more work involved when it comes to doing base classes. So yeah, Blood Elf, Brokens, Dark Iron Dwarves, Drakthir, Draenei, Eridar, which you guys know of. Naga, got Naga. Nightborn, Night Elf. These are actually kind of fun. And these are actually from Duskhaven. So, Upright Orcs, Ogres, Dandelion Troll. I even have Arakoa somewhere. I just don't remember where I put it. But, yeah, kind of fun. I think once Duskhaven decides to make their stuff open source is probably when I'll actually make mine open source as well. I just don't want to release it prematurely and then piss them off. So, yep. And people can implement whatever they want. All right, let's see. So, gotta do these. But yeah, I mean, some of the race updating for the base races will happen. It's just going to take time. Basically, when I'm not burnt out from adding new races is when I'll do it again. Because I've done it so many times at this point. I'm just like, not again. But I've got it down to a system. It's just the new base races that are a pain. Yep. I don't know which races they're actually releasing, but they definitely have access to quite a few. It's been a while. I worked a little bit on the Duskhaven project for Death Knights and did some work there, but I stopped working on it because I just want to work on my repack, and I got busy with life and stuff. So, but I like Keb developer over there is really good. All the developers over there are really good. So. I'm betting that they're trying to implement some form of flighting. Keb, anyway, one of the developers from Duskhaven did share with me the Dragonflight code for that DF flying, but you have to, of course, implement it because they got the code from like I don't know, a Trinity Core Dragonflight type thing. I have to look at it. It's been a while since I've actually looked at it. Wrong side. Just I'll follow at this point. Let's see, add-ons. I thought I had an add-on manager add-on. Oh, they're actually attackable at this point. Someone recoded those. Alright, that's not supposed to happen. I'm betting someone at AzerothCore changed that. Alright, we're gonna try that again. Note to self, fix stone keepers. Yeah, I like Duskhaven. I guess my one thing is I wish they were more realistic about their release timelines. Because they've pushed things around so much, and I know part of the reason why they've put out those like release times is to push their development team to hurry the heck up and do stuff. But I just get sad every time something gets pushed back. Alright, I've got to go take care of my kids, so I have to end stream a little bit early. I just wanted to say thank you guys for hanging out and chatting. And yeah, I'll see you guys around here shortly.